Good evening. You do not know who I am. I'm Fred Olive. I'm the chairman of the Library and Archives Committee for SAR here in Louisville. And I'm here to do one quick thing, is introduce two people. Number one, Mike Wells in the back. He's a former librarian general, later than Mike. He came in from Birmingham, Alabama to support this organization, this seminar tonight. And the other person that we really want to introduce is Joe Hardison. Joe, come on over here for a minute. I do think it's really important. Let me ask you one thing. How many of you been to one of the seminars before? Excellent. Okay, next time we have another one, all of you come back, we want more. Bring your friends, your relatives, whoever. And we know you're all genealogists. Whether you started yesterday or 40 years ago, like I did. But tonight, you're here to hear Joe. That's the bottom line. Joe, thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you, Fred. It's nice to have friends in high places, isn't it? Tonight is a very special evening. I'd like to dedicate tonight's lecture to my predecessor, named Mike Christian. He was the library director for the Sons of the American Revolution for 28 years, and he passed away this past Tuesday. So if you would please join me in just a moment of silent remembrance to that great library saint in the sky. Thank you. Now, how many of you believe that Neil Armstrong was a darn good astronaut? Raise your hand. We would all say that, wouldn't we? I'm reading his biography now, and he would disagree with you. He believes that he is not so much an astronaut as he was an aeronautical engineer. Similarly, I don't consider myself a particularly great genealogist. My field is librarianship. So today I'm going to be sharing with you tonight resources that you can get to anywhere on the internet, and hopefully through our library here at the SAR headquarters. Now, everyone has two handouts from us, correct? We need those. In tonight's lecture, we're going to cover three major topics. The first, we're going to be covering subscription or fee-based online tools. Some of you already subscribe to them. If not, you can get to them through our library or most other libraries. Then we'll also discuss some very powerful, free, huge gateway websites that anyone can get to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And thirdly, we're going to hopefully get to this point where we can discuss some ways to stay current with what's out there, because there's just so much coming online all the time. And where can you learn about these sites besides here? But before we launch into that, I thought we'd have a little fun with a myth that I believe is common to most people. Computer. Can't you just tell me the name of my 118th great-grandfather? Don't so many people think it's all on the internet? Right? Well, no matter how advanced our research skills, we're still going to need print resources. You're never going to get rid of me. Librarians are going to be around for a long, long time. So let's begin. I'm going to move this microphone down because it's a little loud. There, that's a little better. Okay, let's talk about a site that we're all familiar with. That's Ancestry. When Ancestry came online, people just hammered it to death and went crazy over searching for census records. We're not going to cover census records. You already know how to search for census records. So we're going to do some other things and share with you what I think is pretty cool. There's two basic theories of online research. Boil it down to either we start from searching a generally searches, big global wide net searches and narrow it down, or sometimes we start with a very specific goal in mind and work outward. And I'll show you some examples. In the default search, we'll search all categories, and we're going to look for this person, Mickey Mouse. How many hits do you think we'll have? Mickey Mouse. Over 500,000. Do you think there's that many Mickey Mouses in America? I don't think so. But that shows how many false leads you get with a very common name. Let's do another search. A more realistic search. Thomas, last name, Abel. Internet guys worked with us. 44,200 hits. That's still way, way too many. So that's an example of a general, and I want to get specific, obviously. And the easy way for us is to simply use these slide bars. Notice how we went from broad to exact in the spelling. How many ways can you spell Abel? So let's slide it and look for Thomas Abel as exact spellings and update that search. And we went down now to 7,000 hits. Much more manageable. Let's edit the search by using this edit search function. My Thomas Abel was from Maryland. That should narrow things down even further. And I'm going to make sure I have the exact place. Now we're down to 384. A much more manageable hit count. So this is an excellent way of using Ancestry to move from a general topic to a specific. Now let's go the opposite route. I love library catalogs. Librarians are crazy about catalogs in a good way. I'm going to come up to the search function, and how many people have noticed that they got a card catalog? They do. So I'm going to click on the card catalog, and in the title box, I'm going to type in these letters, AGBI. How many folks have heard of or used the American Genealogical Biographical Index? Not too many. Now, there's a print version of this database that consists of over 220 volumes, and there's supplements that are still coming out. It's such a massive print collection that it scares the bejesus out of a lot of people. They don't have the time or the desire to search 220 volumes of something that's relevant to their family. So let's search just that database. I'm going to search for a fellow by the name of Abraham Cohen. And my Abraham Cohen happened to be living in Pennsylvania at the time. That's all I knew about the guy. And that he was probably living around the Revolutionary War time period. That's all I know. I'm going to match all these terms exactly. And I'm going to click search. Now we're already in the American Genealogical Biographical Index, and we get one hit. This Abraham Cohen comes to us, born in 1750. It's likely a good hit. And I'm going to click View Record. AGBI is an index of indexes. In this case, it's referring me to the 10 series of the Pennsylvania archives. 10 series of a collection. Just so happens that we have Series 2, Volume 2, and on page 54 of that particular volume should be a reference to William Cohen. Just call me Grace.
We're awake.
Everybody's awake now. My patron saint up there is not watching over me. Yeah, he is. He is. Okay, so here we are, page 54 of the second series of the Pennsylvania Archives, which I brought down from our library on page 54. And can I have a volunteer? You do just fine. What does Abraham Cohen's listing say?
It says 1772, July 23rd, Cohen, Abraham, and Mary Garman.
Now, I had no idea who his wife was until just now. And it does, Mary Garman's name doesn't show up there, does it? So Spock was right. You are going to need a print resource sooner or later. So remember, AGBI, the next time you do a search using Ancestry. Obviously, there's a lot on Ancestry, and we can't spend the rest of the night talking about it, but do you have a few questions or two?
What if you didn't have that reference? Where would you go to see if you could find it through some other library or something?
If we did not have Pennsylvania Archives, I'm going to show you a resource later today
Okay.
that can address that question. Yes,
But
ma'am.
you said it's through Ancestry. Can you get it anywhere else?
AGBI?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay. I think they own
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to another site. One that you may not be familiar with.
it. She said, can you get it anyplace else? It looks like they have it in print in Middletown, Connecticut. They got it from Memorial Library.
Oh, that's true. If you want the print format, it's in print at Louisville Free Public Library. If you can go there at 2 o'clock in the morning, which you can't. But yes, the Godfrey Memorial Library in Connecticut was the creator of this database. And then Ancestry bought the digital rights to publish it. So there's a few print editions of it floating around, but it's just so big. It's so easy to search it this way. Okay, let's move on to another resource, if I may. American Ancestors. They're put out by the New England Historic Genealogical Society out of Boston. The SAR library has a subscription to it, and you're more than welcome to come here during our open hours to research it. I believe it complements Ancestry very well. It has over 850 databases. Some of these are not available anywhere else. In your handout, you'll see that you can create a guest membership to American Ancestors, but it gives you some limited access to its resources. Or you could sign up for a free trial if there's one floating around out there and hammer it. Let's talk about some things that are really cool. I'm going to take my mouse and I'm going to hover over search, and I'm going to come down to journals and periodicals. Let's try something else. Okay, come on now. Why does this always happen? Sorry, folks. Yes, yay! Thank you, Michael. Okay, so we're in the category of journals and periodicals. And I'm going to take my mouse and click on See All Databases in this category. Now there's a second handout that you should have received. That is numbers of journals that we have in our collection that is indexed through American Ancestors. And you'll notice too that some of these titles, these journal titles, here on the screen behind me, have little camera icons, meaning that that periodical has been scanned and you can access its digital image right on the computer screen. Look at these titles. Oh my goodness. Pennsylvania Genealogical Magazine, going back to 1895. We have it all the way up to 2007. And I even give you the call number to help you find it on the shelf if you want the paper format. Some of these publications, though, we don't have. But this database provides you full access to it. Let's go into a database called the New England Historical Genealogical Register. Which goes back, started in 1847. Yeah, 1847. That's a lot of genealogical material packed in these publications. I'm going to look for a fellow by the name of John Hardesty. Go figure. I like that name. And he was from Maryland as well. And there's the camera icon showing that I've got to have a digital image. Notice too, now we have the option to view this thumbnail. And here's some more icons that we could use to increase the zoom of our print. Isn't that cool? And if we come down here we go. John Hardesty marries Henrietta Cheney on July 23rd. What year? So let's zoom out a little bit. Oh, here we go, 1788. He married. Pretty cool, huh? You don't have to come down here if you have a subscription to this, but we'd like to see them. The other cool thing I like about this database, look at that. It'll give you the source citation. Now, how many of us remember to include the source citation? Do we do that, don't we? Don't we? Not since high school. Come on, guys. We have to remember to use our source citation. I don't know how many SAR applications or DAR applications are accepted without your source citations. Okay. So, remember to get that. And they make it easy for you. Okay. Notice too, you can print the source out. And I think I saw somewhere in here you could download it. Yeah, see right there. You can even download this image to your PC. Boy, genealogy has come a long way since I was a little critter. Okay, let's do one more search. I'm going to search all databases, all 1.4 billion names. I'm going to search for Lida. The last name is Taft. I'm also going to limit my my search for Lida Taft to all these, look at all these various record groups you can limit the search to. I'm going to limit my search to a death record. I have reason to believe that she died somewhere between 1777 and 1779, and that she was living in Newbridge, Massachusetts. Let's see if that'll get us there. Technology is supposed to be my friend. You guys are so patient. Thank you. Oops. Misspelled Massachusetts.
Just put MA.
Let's try that. Okay, cool beans. All right, so here's some more examples of what we're doing. And I'm just going to pick one at random here view her image. And here we go again. Very similar resource here. We can increase the size of the print. There we go. Lida, widow of Captain Josiah, died November 9th, 1978 in her 67th year. So this is good information, isn't it?
It also has who were her parents on the top line.
Yeah. And as we saw before, you can copy the source citation, which is provided for you in your research. So, how many of you have used American Ancestors before? A few of you? Yes. Take it for a spin. Let's move on to another great database called Poultry. We're familiar with Poultry, aren't we? We've heard of it. I'm sure there's free trials out there that you could search for. You can create a basic account with them, which allows you free access to some content on the website. Or you can sign up for a 7-day free trial with your credit card. Just remember that. Your credit card will get dinged. So, Poultry is a terrific database. It's very heavy on military records, but it's not limited just to military records. If we scroll down the screen, you'll see that virtually every conflict that the United States has been in up until today is included. You can highlight any one of these conflicts, and you'll see a list of the most popular resources within that category that's available. Or you can browse all the titles for that category. Your choice. Generally speaking, we have an idea of when our ancestors was living and breathing and hoeing corn or making moonshine. And so that helps us determine which conflict we want to zero in on. In this particular case, I'm going to search the Revolutionary War. I'm particularly interested in looking for a pension record of the Revolution. So I'm going to click on that particular record group, and I'm going to search for a fellow by the name of James Neville. Let's see what we find. Okay. There's 102 hits here. And why he shows up under John Neville's name, I'm not sure. It boggles my mind. I don't know why. But I'm going to search for this first hit here. He's from Virginia. I know that because he eventually came to Kentucky. My records show that. And he was in the Continental Line in Virginia. And those soldiers were entitled to land warrants here in Kentucky. So this is a good candidate for me. I'm going to click on the image of this record. And it looks like that is a pension record. For a service record. So the bottom arrows show that we can navigate through this collection of hymns. When I see something that's hard to read, I'm going to use this plus sign on the right to zoom in. And I can drag down if I like. And sure enough, here we have James Neville in Kentucky, in Barron County in particular, who was filing a pension in 1834. And oftentimes, I recommend folks, when they find a record that's handwritten and sometimes hard to read, to download it to your machine, and if possible, transcribe it, word for word. If you can transcribe that document, it may take you half the night, but there's a level of concentration that will bring out details and facts that you wouldn't have otherwise if you were just reading it at a stoplight. None of us try that, do they? None of us tries to read a document like a will or a birth certificate sitting at a stoplight with grandkids in the back. Don't do that. Do that. And that's an example of a very specific database that I searched for a very specific name. Let's go back to our home. And let's do the opposite. Let's search everything for a fellow by the name of Francis Abel is his name. We're going to search everything. A global, universal search of Fold 3. $2,000 results. And it breaks those 2,000 results down for us, thank goodness, into records pertaining to World War I, World War II, Spanish-American War. You see here how they, let's see if I can increase this. You see how they, screen now. There we go. So it gives a number of hit counts according to the conflict that person was found in. So this is the way you could drill down just by simply clicking on the conflict. And hopefully you'll find the Francis Abel that pertains to you. Does that make sense? The first example was a very specific database looking for a very specific person. Here, we started with a specific person, but we did a global search. So there's a variety of ways to search a database. How many of you have used Fold 3 before? Yeah. It's a terrific resource for us. And that pension application, by the way, had probably 24 images attached to it. Yes, ma'am.
After the Civil War, my great-great-grandfather and his brother were in the GAR, so they had on their, by the SAR was there for the GAR. Would Fold 3 have specific information about, they were in Indiana, they were part of the 35th Regiment fighting in Indiana, from Indiana. Do they have anything about the GAR under Fold 3?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't say for sure that I've actually seen any records for GAR. I'm just not sure.
Under Indiana.
We'd have to see.
It's a fraternal order, though. It's
Right.
really not gonna be-
I didn't hear you.
It's a fraternal order, so it's really not going to be put up.
It's not a military record, no. That's true.
Okay.
That's a very good point. All right, let's move on then to another website that I want to share with you called FamilySearch.org. This is one of those mega websites that requires no fee. Yay! I like free. FamilySearch is one you can get to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no password, no jumping through hoops. You can create a free account with them, and I recommend that you do. It's easy to create a free account. It only takes a minute if you haven't already. And I've had an account with FamilySearch for years. I've not gotten not one request to purchase anything. They don't sell your name or contact information to anybody. They're not interested in it. So there's a tremendous amount of value in using FamilySearch. I've already logged in to FamilySearch, and I'm finding that just having the account makes things a little more streamlined for me. If you put your mouse over Family Tree, you could search all kinds of trees. Over on search, you can search all kinds of records, family genealogies. There's all kinds of things you can search in here. But as I mentioned at the beginning of my talk, we librarians just love catalogs. And I'm going to show you some catalog searching here in just a moment. Before we go there, though, I'm going to show you a resource that a lot of folks haven't discovered yet, or really failed to discover or failed to use it, and it's called the Research Wiki. How many folks have heard of Research Wiki on FamilySearch? A few of you? Okay. Well, folks, this is going to rock your world. And what do I know? I'm just going to have to, somebody's going to have to gently remind me, Joe, reconnect to the internet. Okay. At least I've figured out how to do it. Okay, so we're now in the Research Wiki portion of FamilySearch. And you saw how I did that, right? Right? You mouse over search and come down to Research Wiki. Now, why do I like it so much? Whenever we had a brick wall ancestor, and has anybody not hit a brick wall ancestor? All right, we all had hit brick wall ancestors. In the Family Research Wiki, they're not asking you for that person's name. They're interested in providing a place where that ancestor was last known. Or the topic. Maybe that ancestor was I don't know, maybe they were in the American Revolution. Or maybe he was in the Confederate Navy. That's a topic, isn't it? You can search for that ancestor by place or topic. Place is the most common way. Now, I've got some ancestors from Marion County, good old Lebanon, down in central Kentucky. And I'm going to click, and notice I don't abbreviate county or Kentucky. I spell that out. It could be Spotsylvania County, Virginia. It could be Antrim County, Michigan. You name the place. And type it in. Just make sure you type it correctly.
Yeah.
And that you got Wi-Fi access. And here is a picture of the county courthouse on the right. A map of the state where the county is located, which is true. And this is one example where this is not fake news. This is true. And it gives us other information about the county. its location, the courthouse, record loss, which I hate to admit, but there was a fire. No point in me looking for a birth record. No point in looking for a birth record prior to 1863 in Marion County. It won't exist. And the other thing I do too is look on this column right here and scroll down. How many people neglect to scroll down? If we don't see it on the very first page, do you just give up? Scroll down. You'll notice that there's all kinds of records that we can search for here. They even have probate records. And under the probate records section, you'll see that right here, the second bullet, will books 1 through 4. That's 1863 to 1949 have been digitized by FamilySearch, and it's free. Who likes free? So I'm going to search that collection of will books. Do I have to re-sign up? No? Okay. Okay. A little glitch here. Let's see if we can fix that. Come on now. Don't give me this hiccup. Let's try to see again. Okay. Why FamilySearch wants me to make sure that I'm searching Marion County, I don't know. But I do have to select it again. And brothers and sisters, would you look at this stuff? Not only do they have will records, books 1 through 4 available, but they've also have the settlement books and inventories and guardianship bond books. All kinds of great genealogical value that I didn't even know was available. And I can get to this right now. Even though the courthouse is 60 miles from here and closed for the day. We can, and in some cases, at this point, you'll see a link of just the index to the wills. You would need, which of these 4 will books would I need to find my ancestor in? Right now, I have to figure out when he died and when I think his will was probated. And it's a matter of simple clicking and opening up the link and browsing. These records are not indexed. These particular records are not indexed. So if I was at the default screen of FamilySearch and I typed in my ancestor's name, it will not find a will. It just won't. I have to go and browse the actual will book. Digital page by digital page. You really want me to show you how to do that? Or are we good? Yes, sir.
I have a question referencing the settlement records and
Uh-huh.
the inventory records. What do those consist of?
I'm going to call the lifeline. Now, and I'm going to ask a colleague of mine to correct me if I'm wrong, Nancy. And I think, what is the difference between an inventory and a settlement?
No, not what the difference is. What do they consist of? What part of the, I've never heard of settlement records before.
Well, I'm sure.
Inventory records, I can assume
Right.
were
The inventory
related
of
to taxation.
Yes. And I'm not really sure either what settlements are.
I thought that the inventories, from what I've seen, is where when somebody passed, they sent or they appointed someone to go inventory how many cows, how many hogs, how many
Right.
pots and pans
We
or
got
whatever they
that.
had.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the settlement was when it was finally dispersed. somebody had bought it, and then they listed all the settlement and who was the actual inheritor. Is that a word, inheritor?
Does that sound right?
So I think that's right, that when someone dies intestate, the court will
Oh, intestate,
appoint
yes.
people to come in without a will. The court will come in and appoint people to go through the estate, inventory all the property. You'll see a list of that. And this is great to really get to know your ancestors.
That's
You're
right.
gonna find out what they own. Then you're gonna see the settlement. This is where they're gonna disperse.
Okay.
And that's the genealogical part of it. And one trick that I learned is when you have all the minor children, they're buying things up, look for who's buying the beds.
Right.
Because they're gonna buy their own bed.
And that's where the in-laws come in and bid on these sales.
Okay.
Look who's buying, you're gonna be in-laws, cousins, all that.
You see,
And the settlement will say that that 4 acres were sold, and that money went to pay for the schooling of one child, and they'll tell that.
Oh.
Or so many bales of hay were sold to pay off the debt, those kind of things,
Okay.
that's in the settlement. So it ends up, whatever's left goes to the children.
Wow. Well, good. Thank you for pointing that out. I actually knew that answer. But I hadn't
That's good, because I never had a dog.
Well, I told you I'm more of a librarian than a genealogist. Well, thank you for clarifying that for me.
But those inventories are stories.
Yes, they are. They're good. They're all good stories. And the guardianship bonds, too. That would help find out where that infant, that child is, in what family he's placed.
Why was that person?
There's the guardian bond, you have to be careful, because some people believe when they name the guardian, that child lives with the guardian. The guardian is to look out for the interest of the money of that child. So the
Right.
child could go live with another relative, but the guardian
His
of that
financial
child
responsibility.
protects that child's interest in the estate.
Yes, okay. Good points to remember. So, remember the research wiki. Whenever you hit a brick wall ancestor and search by place or by topic. Another, I was going to mention the catalog. Again, if we hover over search and come down to catalog, FamilySearch has digitized lots and lots and lots of family genealogies. You can search by place, or by surname, by title, author, subject, keyword, or any combination of those. I'm going to search the surname of Morrison. And notice if we scroll down, we can select our availability to online availability. Isn't that cool? Right there. So I'm going to select that radio button for online availability for the Morrison family surname. And let's see what we get up with. 177 hits. That's a lot, isn't it? And we could narrow that search down if we wanted by throwing in another, let's say a title or a place. Maybe we want to limit this to Morrisons of New York. Let's see if we get any further this way. You see how I did that? No results. Just like the place doesn't have it. Let's try one more. New Jersey. Morristown is in New Jersey. No, Morrison. Well, let's just do a simple search. And let's pull up the American descendants of Samuel Morrison. Here's information about the book. And we can click here for the digital version of it. I think, no, that does not answer your question, my dear. We'll come back to that one in just a minute. I haven't forgotten it. But here's the book. And it's currently loading up. Once it completely loads up, you'll have another couple of options here.
That's
How
really
many of you
unusual.
use the Control F function on your keyboard when you're doing searches? Remember that. Control F on your keyboard. I'll show you what I mean here in just a little bit. It's still loading up. But once the book is completely loaded up, you can use the Control F function to search that resource by keywords. So almost there. In this case, this book is 199 digital images long. I'm not sure how many pages that means, but that's okay. And you'll notice over here, up here, we have the option to download the book to a flash drive or to your PC. Right now, it's just temporarily available. I suppose you can print it off if you want. I don't know why you would, but you can.
You could print one page.
Is that right? One page at a time? Okay. But here's the Control F function. And let's suppose I'm searching for an Ann Morrison. And it immediately found one hit, just one. And it took me right to image number 73 of 199. And I can zoom in further for you to see that hit. Deborah Ann Morrison, who apparently is the daughter of Wesley Morrison. Isn't that Control F function pretty cool?
You have to have a PC, not a Mac, right?
I've never tried it on a Mac. I don't see why you couldn't try it.
You know, Joe, too, we were just out in Salt Lake City, and they were saying, too, if you use Firefox with FamilySearch, it gives you many more options, too, when you're searching. And I didn't know that.
Oh, if you use Firefox?
Firefox.
Oh, okay.
Just for FamilySearch, I know it lets you access more books.
Okay, good.
He's on Chrome.
So remember that, guys. Use Firefox if you're, or at least try using Firefox if Chrome or Internet Explorer doesn't work. So, how many of you will be were going to go home tonight and search for books in full text? Yeah. Okay, so there's lots of ways. Remember now, just remember, it's over under catalog. Good. Okay. Now let's move on to the next part of your page. There's a website out there called internetarchive.org. Internetarchive.org. Or just archive.org will get you there. If the FamilySearch catalog does not have a full text copy of the genealogy you're looking for, look at Internet Archive. I'm going to search for one, a fellow by the name of Simon Lobdell, I'm sorry. And here are two libraries that digitized or have digitized copies of this book. Library of Congress has one, and the American Libraries has another. Near the bottom, you'll see the Library of some odd views of this book, whereas American Libraries has 171. It's your choice whether you just look at one or the other. They'll be identical, other than maybe the image quality. And simply clicking on the book, and you can leaf through it as if it was in your hand. You also have the option, if you scroll down the screen, on the right-hand side, you have the option of downloading it as a PDF or to your Kindle. I'm going to download this copy as a PDF. And just like before, you can use the Control F function to search that book.
Does F4 work on everything?
I'm sorry?
Does F4 work on all of these that you,
You mean Control F?
Control F, I'm sorry, yes.
Works in all PDFs.
I don't know the answer to that question.
If it's a digital photo or a JPEG, it's not gonna work.
No, it won't be a
But it works.
JPEG, but a PDF seems to be. Yes. On a PDF scanned image. Yes, sir.
No, Joe, one thing you can do is always try to search and look at the first title page, find the word Smith or James or something you know is in there. If it gives you no results, you know it does not work. Maybe an image or whatever. That's the way
That's
it is.
true. That's a way to approach that. This is a little slow in loading, but take my word for it. Once it's completely loaded, you can Control F and search the PDF. Another good website to search for full text books is the Hattie Trust. And I believe that website is also in your handout. Is that correct? Is that in there? Okay. And similarly, you can search for that. William Morton. In this case, I know the title that I'm searching for. William Morton, Windsor, Connecticut. It's already assuming that I'm going to search for the full view for this book as opposed to just a snippet of it. I'm not interested in just a paragraph from that book. A paragraph at random at that. I want the full book. So it's already assuming I want to search for that. And I'm going to click search. Excellent. And here, I see that it does, in fact, give me a full view of this William Morton of Windsor, Connecticut, and some of his descendants. And again, very similar. We can download this book, either a certain page. If you look on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll notice that you can download a specific page from that book, or you can download the whole book to your PC. Isn't that cool? And what two keys on your keyboard would you press to search it by keyword? Control F. Yes. Good answer. Good answer.
Would this one work if you didn't know the exact title of the book?
Well, let's go back. Let's go back a screen. And if you notice right here, there's an advanced full text search option right here. If you don't know the title, you can type in a person's name here. and search it'll be search full text. And maybe you know that ancestor was from Tennessee. I love thinking of a geographic term as a way to limit my search. And you could come over here to the right, and using this drop-down menu, you could limit that to the subject of Tennessee, let's say. Or maybe you think the state of Tennessee will be in the title of the book. So you'll want to play with these settings a little bit. But make sure that you have this full text, all fields in there. Otherwise, you'll make it a hit, but it'll take you to just a snippet, which limits your usefulness. Did that answer your question? Okay. And then probably the last big kahuna website that we'll go to is something called WorldCat, which should also be in your handout. WorldCat, I'm a librarian, I love catalogs. WorldCat is literally a worldwide interconnection of library catalogs. Can I hear you say, ooh? Ah, worldwide connection of library catalogs. It's the mother of all catalogs. It doesn't include Sears and Roebuck catalogs. Sorry.
No, they use archive.
Isn't that sad that there's no Sears catalogs?
No Sears Christmas catalog.
No. Oh, I love looking through those things. Okay. Here you see the number of tabs. You could search everything. And I mean literally everything. Or you can limit your search to DVDs or CDs or articles. Is there a DVD on, how many DVDs are there out on the American Revolution? I don't know. But this would be a great way to find out. We're going to limit our search to books though. And I would like to recommend that we go down to the advanced search option here. And that gives us a number of more options here. In my example, I'm going to come over and tweak some settings here. I'm going to go from keyword, and I'm going to search for the subject of the Twyman family. And I know from the family Bible that was passed down to my grandmother, who passed it down to my mother, who passed it down to me, that this particular Twyman family originated in Virginia. And I could type in Virginia here, and I will. But I don't want to assume that the word Virginia will wind up in the title of a book. You see that? So I'm going to make sure I change this from title to the subject. That broadens that search out quite a bit. And we went from specific to general just then. I mean, yes. And if we scroll down further, you'll notice that I can limit this search to all kinds of ways. I could limit this search to books about the Twyman family from Virginia, published from 1900 to 1905, or from 1800 to 1900. You pick the year if you wish. You can even change to just children's books if you want. And the content, if you wish to limit it to certain content. Even the format. Look at all these formats. Who knew that you could search for a book in Braille using WorldCat? But you can't. But I'm going to leave it to all formats. I can't imagine there's many Twyman family genealogies of any kind. But we'll see. And let's click search, and we'll see what we come up with. And sure enough, we have 14 hits, all pertaining to that topic. Here's more information on the left, showing when these book titles were published.
What is that third one there? Because I'm not.
The
we can't
Yancey
say
family?
What, yeah, how did they get Yancey out of that?
Yancey married to Twyman.
I would bet so. Twyman's probably married into the Yancey line.
On the first basis, Twyman known was
Right.
Yancey.
Now, let's suppose I'm interested in this Austin Twyman papers. You'll notice that they have a book format of it somewhere out in the world, and it's also on microfilm, manuscripts, it's an archival material, but I don't know where it is. Where is this? I'm going to click on the link. And sure enough, there's the Twyman family listed. And if I was really interested in this book, I would have to type in a zip code where I live. In this case, let's type in 40202 and cross your fingers. Okay, so at Emory University in Atlanta, that seems to be the closest library that's got it. University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill seems to have it. College of William and Mary seems to have it. Notice they're all on microfilm. That's going to be difficult. Not impossible. Nothing is impossible with a persistent genealogist. Am I right? Yeah. Nothing's impossible. And you don't have to necessarily go there. There's other tricks up our sleeves. But let's suppose, just for the sake of discussion, let's suppose that this book was published in 1900. Right? That's before copyright. I would, if I were in your shoes, I would copy this title. Right there is the copyright in 1994, so that's a deal breaker right there. But let's just suppose, for the sake of discussion, this book was published prior to 1920. I'll copy this title, and I'll pop it in over here under Internet Archive. And see if I can find it in full text somewhere else. Or maybe if they don't have it, maybe the Hattie Trust has it. If they don't have it, maybe FamilySearch Catalog will have it. You see how, if one tool doesn't work, just try different. And if everything you've done says you cannot find this book in full text at your home, then I guess the next best thing would be to contact your nearest public library and inquire about interlibrary loan. How many of you have used that old-fashioned resource? So hopefully you'll find a knowledgeable public librarian who can say, oh yeah, we can submit that. Yes, sir?
Joe, under catalog on that screen.
On this
and
one?
under books right below.
Right.
There are two sets of different records. The books are digital copies of books. The catalog may contain different books. They're not the exact same. So you need to check catalog for the book you want.
Under
and then books.
FamilySearch, yes.
They're dipping into two different pools of data.
Let's go back and do another quick advanced search, and then I'll take another question here. I want to do a subject search for slave bills of sale. African American research is a real challenge, and this is a big help to them. They're searching for slave records, particularly slave bills of sale can come in real handy. Again, I'm searching for slave bills of sale that occurred in Kentucky. And let's click search and see what we come up with. We have 74 hits here. And many, oh goodness gracious, there's Joseph Twyman again. Ah. So you could pretty much guarantee that this was probably a plantation or a slave owner whose records survived to the point of being archived.
Can you make that screen any bigger for us, Joe?
We could try, but it might just knock us off the screen.
That's much better.
Is that better?
Yes.
I could scroll down and you'll see some cases it's a computer file. But in just about every case, you're going to need to click on the link. Here's the subject headings that we searched for. And how can we search for them? Library. Oh, well, I'm not able to get the information about this item. Well, that's pretty helpful.
So these would be the kind of places that Finding Your Roots goes to find these kind of questions.
I'm sorry?
This would be a source that Finding Your Roots would go to find out who was sold that seemed to fit the category.
Yes, if you're doing African American research. Yeah. In many cases, these archival materials are going to be stored in university libraries or special collections like state archives or state historical societies. Here in Louisville, they have the Filson Historical Society. They probably will have slave bills of sale. Yes, sir.
Were there records kept on the local or state level on slaves as far as like categories or anything of that nature?
It depends on which record we're speaking of. Like slave bills, that was a private document. That would not necessarily been archived on the county level. But emancipation deeds would have been.
The what?
Deeds of emancipation. If a slave owner had given freedom to a slave, he would have gone to the courthouse and documented that. And so,
Well, what about like for local taxes, local tax purposes?
Mhm.
They were considered chattel property. Were they taxed on slaves?
that's correct. They were taxed, and in Kentucky, I can speak that there are county level tax records that have been archived.
Okay, that's what I'm getting to.
The state or the Kentucky Department of Libraries in Cranford has those tax records. Louisville Free Public Library also has microfilm of, and that's statewide for every county in Kentucky.
They're on
Tax
FamilySearch
records.
also. They're on FamilySearch, you can download those all.
I could not hear you.
They're on FamilySearch also.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
The tax records?
Yes.
So to answer your question then, sir, I would go to FamilySearch and come down to the research wiki. and type in tax records for Kentucky, or just Kentucky. And,
Put the county of Kentucky in it.
oh, yeah, yes.
The best way to go to that is to go to catalog, put the location, and you get a full set of records. And one of the records towards the bottom is an alphabetical order is taxation. And you have several tax lists going back to 1787.
The question that I would have, though, is whether or not they've been digitized.
Yes.
Most of them have been digitized.
They have been? Okay,
Yes.
good.
Well, the reason I asked that question is because I was doing research some number of years ago, and I came across a will of a great-great-grandfather. In there, he had like X number of slaves. I didn't even know they had slaves. And so, but they came from Maryland, so that he was like the second generation Kentucky. So I know his father probably brought him in when he came back in the 1770s or 80s. And I wondered, how that progressed and what happened.
Did he have the slaves up into the 1850s, 1860s?
No, there were some stories about one of the patriarchs in the family freeing the slaves, but I don't know if there's truth to that or not. So that's what I wanted to find out, if there was validity to that story, or where I could go specifically, get more details on that. And it sounds like maybe the local county record would have that information.
Well, I would hope so. The difficulty with any kind of tax records or even the slave census is that it doesn't name the slaves.
It doesn't what?
It does not name the slaves. It merely counts them.
He named the slaves in his will.
That's good. And I just typed in Jefferson County, Kentucky, just for the random name, and there's under 2.26 is tax records. Right there. So it might be worth trying that route at 2 o'clock this morning with a nice glass of wine.
What county is it?
Very pardon?
What county?
It was in Ohio County.
All right, nearing the end, there are 2 other really monstrously big websites available to us. Right this way, Peter. There's 2 really monstrously big websites that we're not even going to visit, but I simply provide the web address for you. And that's called the usgenweb.org website. And it's Big Brother, the worldgenweb.org website. And that's also in your handout, isn't it? Okay. And it gives a little thumbnail description of those 2 projects. They're just gargantuan. And both projects, both of those websites are similar to Find a Grave. Many of you have used that, findagrave.org. In that these are volunteer-driven websites. Good-hearted folks, just like you, who agreed to adopt a project, and perhaps you volunteered to index all the wills from Cobb County, Illinois, if there is such a place. And you would take that index of information and upload it to that site. As with anything that's volunteer-driven, trust it, but verify it through other resources. You don't have to take everything you see on the internet as a gospel truth. Okay. Okay, so let's move on then to the third category, and we'll wrap this up. And that's how can we stay current with information out there. One of my favorite ways of learning is through going to FamilySearch.org website. We're already familiar with that. And in the very top right-hand corner of your screen, on the FamilySearch homepage, let's go back to the homepage. And by the way, this lovely couple right here happens to be my great-great-grandparents who were married here in Louisville Cathedral. And guess what she did for a living? Hat maker. A milliner, yeah. She didn't marry a milliner, she became a milliner. So anyway, at the very top right-hand corner of FamilySearch, you'll see a help function. And if we click on help, you'll see that you have a variety of ways to get assistance. You can contact FamilySearch and get a live person on the phone to help you if you have a question. Or you can come down to something called a learning center. I love the learning center. Because who wants to listen to me all the time? I think I'm a pretty good teacher, but even I would get tired of hearing myself talk. And so here we have all kinds of other great classes that you can watch anytime. Pull your laptop, take it to bed with you, put on some headphones, and watch this Getting Started in Irish Genealogy. Or more Irish than Irish themselves. Introduction to Hispanic Research. Where do I begin? More and more. Switzerland compiled genealogies. Look at they just go on and on and on. You want to do Czech research? My wife's best friend is from Czechoslovakia. I can't help her. It's beyond me. So I would recommend that she watch this. Isn't this great stuff? So this is one way that I would recommend you to continue your learning. Also, you'll see rootstech.org/videos. That's another site that you can go to. Even YouTube. YouTube.com. Just earlier today, someone was asking me about Freedman's Bank records that are accessible through Heritage Quest and other websites. They never heard of it before. But it was 4:30 and we were closing. We had to go home. But wait, before you leave, go to youtube.com and type in Freedman's Bank records. And I know she's going to find a video of someone explaining it. So, gosh, did you guys get a lot of material already? Anybody feel overwhelmed?
Yes.
Well, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I just want you to have a wonderful time taking this handout. Does the handout provide you with all the information you need to go home and have fun? Yes, sir.
Just a quick comment on the WorldCat.
Mm-hmm.
WorldCat will only pull up libraries that belong to or have participated in WorldCat.
That's true.
So if you find a library or title that's in your local library is not part of that, you might just go to their catalog and put that title in and see if they have it.
That is correct. Not every library is connected to WorldCat. The majority of them are. I would say every academic library, and virtually every state archive, and majority of them are connected to WorldCat. Even if you found a book in WorldCat, and I'm just going to speak from experience here, you find this coveted resource, and WorldCat says that this book is on the shelf at the Webster County, Kentucky Public Library. It's a 4.5-hour drive from here. I get in the car. I drive like a bat out of Hades to get there. Thankfully, they were open. I didn't bother to check their website to see if they were closed. Thankfully, they were open. I get there, and I even had a printed out copy from WorldCat, the mother of all catalogs. You had this book. They searched their catalog. They couldn't find it. Ooh. So even with WorldCat says they've got it, sometimes there's a lag. They may have deleted that book from their collection 6 months ago and had forgotten to tell the folks at WorldCat. So, a lesson to the wise. If WorldCat says they've got it, go to that library's catalog and check it. If their catalog says they still have it, pick up the phone and call. I'm going to get in the car and drive 4.5 hours to your collection. Would it be too much trouble if you were to just pull that book and tell me, do you have it? And if they say, oh yeah, I'll get to it, I'll wait. I mean, seriously. You know, you could go to a state archive in Indianapolis or Richmond, Virginia, and they might still not find it, even if their catalog says they've got it. So it's always good to call ahead. You can call me. I don't mind at all. It's good customer service.
I was gonna say, now, don't just look at their website, because a lot of libraries and historical societies have summer hours and or certain times. So you need to like Joe said, to call directly, because websites are not always updated. Because I had that happen to me. It was a specific college, a Brethren college that I was getting. There's a source of that had like 21 volumes. Well, they had summer hours. You know, I went to the website, and yes, they were supposed to be open, but they didn't say that, okay, when school's not in, when the colleges, they only are open 2 days a week.
Yeah, that's a very sad awakening.
How many people drive to Louisville on Derby Day, they don't realize our library's closed at 3 months. It's Derby, everything closed.
Yeah.
You came from Virginia, you don't
Oh, sure. And there's marathons and all kinds of things that messes it up. Yes, ma'am.
What's the difference in the focus of the library here and
It's a good question. The question was, what's the fundamental difference between the SAR library and the Filson Historical Society located just a few miles south of us? To my answer to that is that the Filson Historical Society is focused purely on Kentucky and the Ohio Valley. The Ohio River and the communities along the Ohio River. And the history of Kentucky. That's it. That's their primary focus. Genealogical research takes a second seat to that. But they do have a good genealogical collection for Kentucky. And Virginia. Now, if you're interested in researching folks from Pennsylvania or New York or Connecticut, come here. This library is much more nationwide in coverage. Plus, we subscribe to a number of databases that I don't believe they have.
you have a whole lot of more of the family history books too, books that members, SAR members
Yes.
have donated to that they aren't anywhere else.
That's true. We have a huge collection of published genealogies.
We have a great library catalog that the search place, good search.
That's true. We have an excellent library catalog that you could search 24 hours a day. That's does Filson. And one thing that they don't have, that this library does? Thank you. I didn't even have to pay you. Are you a member? You're almost a member? Oh, good. Very good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming tonight. Our gathering here is over. However, if you really want to, I invite you to join us. We're going to stick around for another hour.
We are.
If you wish to do some research, now's your chance. All I ask is that you exit through that door and go around through the door into the library. If you wish to stay, we have a couple of computer stations available for you to research. We have Wi-Fi access. If you have a laptop, you can log into it. No password required. And otherwise, all I ask is you just be very careful as you go home tonight. And as you're researching the Dickens out of your ancestors, please, please, please do not leave young children unattended in a bathtub. All right? Amen? Amen. All right. Thank you, everyone.